Now we are on the day of Game 4, coming off a big Heat victory powered by Jimmy Butler. Bam Adebayo is listed as questionable. He'll do everything he can to get on the court. What do you expect to see tonight? And what did you...
I'm an animal lover, in particular dogs. Just bought my daughter Gracie a German Shepherd. His name is King Louie. And you know, one of the things you do with animals when you put them outside without a fence, you make an electronic fence, right? So they can stay in your yard. That's what I saw around the paint for Anthony Davis, because he didn't go inside the paint. He did not go inside the paint.
Three shots from the paint. He had a couple of
touches where he caught the ball in the paint. Yeah, and you know what's more disappointing about that? No Bam Adebayo, who's a physical specimen. I want to give Kelly Olynyk a lot of credit. We keep talking about the great play of Jimmy Butler, and rightfully so, a historic performance. But he came in as a starter, and he put in work. And he made Anthony Davis play defense at that three-point line. So that's what I saw, struggling Anthony Davis, that they can't afford to have him come out and play as lackluster tonight.
And one of the things I want to point out, the main difference between Game 2 and Game 3, everyone talks about Jimmy Butler performance, and that's true. It was a great performance. And everybody else says, well, Anthony Davis, he played well, he disappeared. And that's also true, he was in foul trouble. But I think one of the key things that the Heat did, and Spoelstra is so good at adjusting game to game in these series, is they played basically 50% zone in Game 2. They played barely any zone in Game 3. They just tried to double Davis, get the ball out of his hands. They would help and get back to their assignments. They were letting Markieff Morris shoot whatever he wanted, and he was hitting him, to be honest with you. Danny Green couldn't hit anything. Now, coming into tonight, you know how this is always sort of a chess match. You know, it's a chess match. Do you expect them to go back to the zone as a reaction to that? Do you think them to stick with the man-to-man tonight to try to stifle the Lakers?
I think they're going to ultimately play a lot of zone because you got to try to suffocate the paint and keep the Lakers outside of it. And that's one of the ways you're able to do it, by stacking the zone the way they did. And again, you got to give them a lot of credit. The Miami Heat did exactly what I anticipated, to be honest with you. Their DNA is all about toughness, sacrifice, and finding a way to get it done. You saw Eric Spoelstra at the press conference when he was asked about what people think. You saw Jimmy Butler distinctly guarantee a win. Now, just think about this for a second. Jimmy Butler is playing basketball against LeBron James in the NBA Finals. Guarantees a win to the media. Goes out and scores 40 and has a triple-double against LeBron James. He bullied LeBron, dog. Don't talk to me about the role players in Game 3. AD, LeBron will tell you, I'm pretty sure they were in film session like, wait a minute. Jimmy had more points, rebounds, and assists than I did? That has never happened to me in a basketball game ever. I'm LeBron James. And also caused 6 turnovers when he was guarding LeBron. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He guaranteed a win and got LeBron James to turn the ball over 6 times and score 40.
Jalen,
okay, so I believe the Lakers win this game, however, but I think Jimmy Butler and them is going to find a way to win a secondary game. Overall, this will ultimately be Lakers in 6. But make sure you acknowledge what Jimmy Butler did in that previous game. That's all-time outstanding.
We will acknowledge what Jimmy Butler did in that previous game, because it will be the last time that we will acknowledge a good Heat performance, because you know that AD, especially AD, is going to come back and perform tonight. And I think that the Lakers get the win tonight. And then Game 5, here's what I see. I see all the Lakers look at their plane tickets. Might as well just put the plane tickets up on the whiteboard. Just be like, do you want to stay in the bubble? Do you want to eat at the same restaurant again? Do you want to live in that hotel room? Or do you want to go home? That's why I have the Lakers winning in 5, because the motivation to bounce back from the Game 3 performance, especially from Anthony Davis, and just the motivation to get out of the bubble. Like, I don't think people really understand just how bad these players want to leave. The Lakers are the more talented team, they're the healthier team, and they will get this done in 5. Now, I do want to get back to one X's and O's thing, because you kind of said that Jimmy Butler bullied LeBron, and it kind of looked like it, especially in the fourth quarter. And then LeBron did the thing he did with Jamal Murray. He's like, oh, this guy's hot, then let me check him. However, in the pick and roll defense, he was allowing that switch to happen, and then you'd watch Jimmy Butler score on Morris or score on KCP. Do you think that he will fight through those picks? Do you think they will change their defensive strategy in Game 4?
I don't think they'll necessarily change their defensive strategy. They're just going to play with more force, with more effort. Jimmy Butler had 40 points in the finals game and didn't attempt a three-point shot. The last dude to do that was Shaq in the early 2000s, and he's 7 foot, 300 pounds. That's what I mean when you watch the Miami Heat play. They're not a monolith like most of the teams where you have 5 guys standing around the three-point line. They do dribble handoffs, they do away actions for pick and rolls, and their best players offensively aren't volume three-point shooters. So the Lakers got to use their height and suffocate the paint better.
You know what? I'm petty, and I know LeBron is too. I know he thought this, and he would never, ever admit it. There's a part of him that was like, oh, AD done lost the Finals MVP. AD just handed me the Finals MVP with that Game 3. I really believe that. He would never admit it or say it into a microphone, but somewhere in the back of his head, he was like, oh, AD just put that thing on a platter for me and watch me take this home. Jalen, sometimes there's video in the world of sports that we need to break down with the minute details. So you and I.
Finals. Get out of my way, says LeBron James.
It ain't nothing to it when I do it.
Oh, what a pass! The Lakers set a finals record for most threes in a half. Anthony Davis lighting it up. What an amazing performance. And the Lakers are 2 wins away from their 17th championship.
Lakers up 2-0 on the Heat. Anthony Davis put on a show again, becoming the 3rd player in finals history to shoot at least 75% on 20 attempts. And you see, he's got Hall of Fame company. 3 of the top 4 shooting performances in the finals have been for the Lakers. Stephen A. Smith with us once again for our finals coverage. Stephen, the conversation has to start with Anthony Davis. This is what they brought him to Los Angeles for. This is what he came here for. And now that he's in the moment, he's delivering.
Well, he's been absolutely spectacular and unstoppable. There's nothing that they can do with him. He can hit perimeter shots. He's grabbing offensive rebounds. He's putting it back. There's nobody that's impeding his progress at the basket. They look as helpless as I've ever seen the Miami Heat look going up against Anthony Davis. I know he had 32 compared to LeBron's 33, but he was clearly the MVP of this game, and he's clearly been the MVP of this series. There is literally nothing that they can do. They look absolutely helpless.
Of course, the Heat undermanned without Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic. They're probably not going to get Dragic back. Maybe they get Adebayo back. Is there anything that you see that they can do to prevent this from becoming a sweep?
Well, that answer would be no, first of all. You can pray. You can do a lot of that, like I told you after game 1. But there's virtually nothing they can do. I would tell you what I would try, though.
Okay.
Bam Adebayo comes back. Put him in the lineup with Kelly Olynyk. Take Duncan Robinson, who's only shooting 2 of 10 this series, 0 for 3 in game 1, just 2 of 7 tonight. He can barely get a shot off. He's a specialist, but because the Lakers do such an extraordinary job of getting out to defend those perimeter shots, it's rendered him almost helpless. So guess what? Go big, have some size on your front line, and then challenge them to man up and bring those young dudes off the bench to give you some energy and see what works that way. That's about the only thing left for them to try, as far as I could tell. Outside of that, it's pretty helpless. I think it's over, and I think everyone knows it.
Yeah, you got to give him some credit. I mean, Heat culture, you know, they made it a fight in game 2, but they just don't have the horses. Normally, they would be heading home. Maybe they get some juice from their home crowd, but of course, this season, that's not the case.
If it were in South Beach, perhaps they'd have a better chance because, dare I say, maybe the Lakers would be distracted. Maybe. That might have been their only hope.
No distractions right now, though. The Lakers focused and in control of the NBA Finals. Steve, we appreciate it.
And particularly against Boston in the last round. This is different, though. The Lakers are prepared, and they've got the type of size and the type of shooting right now with the way these role players are playing to beat this. And I thought their approach to it was great all along, Stan. They get the ball to proper areas of the floor, which is into the middle, and Miami's making some mistakes on their zone coverage. Here, Jimmy Butler's in no man's land. He should be matched up there on the wing with Caruso. Instead, when this ball gets swung, it forces Hero to come out, and that allows LeBron to catch the ball in the baseline, where now he can survey the weak side of the court. You see Kendrick Nunn. He thinks the ball's going to the corner, and there's AD at the rim for an easy dunk. Here, once again, you end up with 2 guys on the ball at the top of the zone. You're going to have problems if you got 2 guys on the ball in the zone at any point. Morris flashes middle. You got Kendrick Nunn and Olynyk in the back, worried about AD posting up or the lob. So it's an easy decision for Morris to kick out to Caruso, who steps in to a wide open 3. The 2 areas of the floor you have to attack a zone: in the middle and on the short baseline. And LeBron James and Anthony Davis repeatedly occupied those 2 areas. So not only did they have bodies there, they had the two best players on the floor in the two most important places to attack a zone. That's going to spell trouble for any zone. But tonight, Miami really had a hard time figuring out how to slow this down. Give Frank Vogel a lot of credit because they knew it was coming and they were ready for it.
You can try to shoot them out of it, too. The Lakers took a season-high 47 threes. They hit 16 of them, which they'll take. The other problem playing the zone, though, is trying to find a body to put on a body when it comes to rebounding, and Anthony Davis made that a problem.
Yeah, that's the big challenge in a zone defensively. Even when you can force the Lakers to miss a shot, you had Anthony Davis just cleaning up all of those mistakes. And there was a time in the third quarter when he really just took over the game, and he prevented Miami from getting close and